Okay, today we want to talk to you about one of the greatest human being behaviors in the organization, in the families, in the interpersonal, and other parts of every type of human behavior. The title is motivation. Motivation sometimes is misunderstood by inspiration or forcing people. Um, I want you to have a good participation in class because the class is online, and when I have only monologues with you, I don't hear any voice of you as the comments. It's so boring class. So please have comments and participate in the class. Sean, do you hear me? Oh, Sean is not here. Okay. Um, what is motivation? The set of forces that leads people to behave in particular ways. Emir, I think I had a voice from your microphone. Please, before talking, mute your microphone. There's an extra voices that disturb me for class. Or Emir or Christian or Sean, I don't know. Okay, so the first word in the motivation is force. Force is something that push you forward for doing things or gaining something. I had noises in my class. Please mute your microphone. Emir or Sean, your microphones are not mute. Please mute your microphone. Emir or Sean, your microphones are not muted. Okay, thank you. And the first word in the definition of motivation is force. Force is something that pushes you to get something, to achieve some goals or reach your dreams and other things or needs even. For your needs, you will need some forces. So after that, the importance of motivation, it is job performance or P for performance, depends upon motivation, ability, and environment. It is MAE. So you should know about the motivation as a basic part of job performance. So P is equal to M plus A plus E. P for job performance depends upon motivation. Would you please mute your microphone? Your voice disturbs my class. Emir or Sean. One of your microphone is open and disturbed. Okay. So job importance, job performance depends on motivation, ability, and environment. And after that, motivational framework. We have talked about the framework, conceptual framework or theoretical framework before. And what is the role of framework in the conceptualization, the concepts of future? So we have some needs. If you go for a study today, Maslow hierarchy of needs, you see that we have two levels of needs, needs and meta needs. The needs have 5 levels. It is hierarchy. If you cannot pass and meet the first level or first stage of needs, you cannot go to the second stage or third stage or fourth stage or fifth stage. So the first stage is basic needs in Maslow hierarchy of needs. And second is needs for security, and after that it is love and belonging, and after that it is self-esteem, and finally the needs on the Maslow hierarchy of needs is self-actualization. You see some time of motivational framework here in the heart of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Experience need deficiencies, search for ways to satisfy needs. When you cannot meet your needs, when you cannot satisfy your needs, after that it is very hard to satisfy your needs. And choice of goals-related behavior. You are searching for the ways to satisfy your needs. So what is your goal? Your goal is need satisfaction, meet your needs. It is the goal-directed behavior. And after that, enactment of behavioral choices. It's performance. It's some part of the motivation which is called performance. An experience, reward, or punishment. And after that, after your performance, you will receive some rewards or punishment. If it is good for you, it is reward. It is not good for you, it is not functional, it is dysfunctional for you, it is punishment. And after that, reassessment, review that what I have done before to gain my goals, and what is the role of motivation or inspiration if gaining my goals. It is reassessment, reevaluation, data collection again of a need deficiencies. That what part of my going to my need has a lot of deficiency. As again, as another algorithm, when you don't have any good answers, any good circumstances, any good outcomes, you will go to the last stage of the algorithm, and it is called feedback, not feed forward. The motivational framework, how motivation processes occur. First, need deficiency, goal-directed behaviors, reward and punishments, a reassessment of need deficiencies, or it is called again feedback. So need deficiency, goal-directed behavior, reward and punishments, a reassessment of need and deficiency. Historical perspective on motivation, because you know one of the greatest humanistic problems is postponing, or is put off, or it is procrastination. One of the major theories and one of the basic theories about why we postpone what we need, why we put off what we need, or it is good for us, or it is functional for us, why we do it, because it is not because of we are not intellectual people, we are not thinking people. Yes, we think about our behaviors, about our goals, and we know everything we need to access and achieve our goals. But a lot of us postpone them. Why? There are some historical perspectives on motivation. Traditional approach, the human relation approach, and the human resource approach. So before that, so we have three approaches to motivation. In traditional approach to motivation, it is about the Frederick Taylor. As you know, Taylor was the father of modern management, or the father of basic parts of science of management. So scientific management assumes that employees are motivated solely by money. Good money, good job. Good money, good motivation. The first part, it is called about the money, that what is the job of the job? Making money. The job of the job is not enjoyment. The job of the job is not happiness. The job of the job is making money. So we talked about it previous session on campus, that what are the differences between job, career, and work. And I talked to you about it. And I said to you that the job of the job is making money, but the job of the career is not solely making money. After that, we come to the second approach. It is the human relations approach. Assumes employees' need outweigh money, and that fostering favorable employee attitudes, the illusion of involvement resulting motivation. What does it mean? It means that if you go to a work to do something only for money and you don't have any sense of belonging to your company, to your organization, if you don't have a good feeling about your company, it is not motivation. It is push forward. It is hard push to do something. So always it is not good to have only do things for money. And the third part says that the human resources approach. A lot of you, as the students of bachelor degree of business, will begin your work maybe in the HR department of the companies, of the organization, of the stores and other parts and of the plazas and other things, other places. You will begin your work as HR manager or HR maybe employee. So you should know a lot of things about the HR necessity to do in your job environment. So please pay attention specifically to the HR approach to everything. One of the approach of HR to one of the approaches to motivation involves HR approach to motivation. What it says about motivation? It says assume people want to make genuine contribution. In the traditional approach to motivation, you see that the major part is making money. In the second part, human relation, it is good you have a motivation for going to job, for relationships with the other people, talking, engaging with your company, engaging the many. And the third part, it is about contribution. Contribution is the share of your job in the company progression to the future, and what is your role in the organization, what is the managerial role, employment role, or even leadership roles sometimes. Managers should encourage their participation by providing the proper working environment conditions. So it is very humanistic, very effective, and very, very, very good attitude to motivation. Why? Because motivation is a very deep thing in your body, in your mind, in your being, in your existence. Without motivation, motivation has two parts, force and direction. Everything it has force, it is motivation? No. Everything that can direct you, it is motivation? Again, no. Combination of force as direction is called motivation. Motivation is something that forces you to push forward and push forward you to go to somewhere, and where it is direction. It is supportive and directive. So combination of force and direction is motivation. Please pay attention to motivation. One of the basic parts of every human being is self-motivation. They're very, very important. Okay. Taylor, I don't have any any voice of you. If it is necessary to enter an attributes and share your attribution about the motivation, we can talk about it. We can talk and hear about it. The three dimensions of self-efficacy. At first, I want to give you a definition of self-efficacy. We talked about it before that self-efficacy about the judgment, your judgment about your ability to be successful in the future, in your life, in your job, in your education, your interpersonal relationship. So self-efficacy is a phrase coined by, I think, I forgot the name of the scientist coined it. It is very, very important and very basic and major part of managerial psychological theories about the organizational behavior. Self-efficacy is very important. Why? After self-esteem and after self-confidence and competence, you have self-efficacy. We talked about it before in the class. So three dimensions of self-efficacy is magnitude, strength, and generality. Beliefs about how difficult a task can be accomplished. It is magnitude. Strength, beliefs about how confident the person is that the task can be accomplished. It is strength is the judgment about yourself, about your ability, your capacity to do and to accomplish something. And generality, it believes about the degree to which similar tasks can be accomplished. It is very good because when you have generality and when you have some types of, for example, generalization, you know that if you can do something and after that you want to something, you want to do something, okay, it's not good because maybe you think that you cannot do anything except of that. But generalization, and in the highest and extreme part, it is overgeneralization. Uh, it can be good. Why? Because you know, as the same thing, as the same theory says that it is the same. If I have a strength and ability and competency to do something, I can do similar tasks and similar things in the workplace, in my family membership, in my, for example, educational place and other things. Everything is similar to the same task. Yes, I can do it. I can do it again successfully with competency, and I will be so confident about it. It is generality as the third part of self-efficacy. So I am from the group of psychologists that think everything begins with needs. Honestly, I think that if you don't have any need, also it is false belief. Nobody is in the world that doesn't have any need. If he or she think that he or she doesn't have any need, okay, it's his or her problem in attitude, in judgment. But the level of needs in different people, different levels, different people, or vice versa, different people, different level of needs. Okay, it's true. So one of the greatest and basic perspective on motivation is about why should we do something? Why? For example, why we should seek for the food. Very basic needs. If you don't have any food, you will die. So it is not a good question about the humanistic being, about the good for animal world. Okay. In humanistic being, as a humanistic being, we have some deeper and some more important needs. Okay. Need-based theories of motivation assumes that the need deficiency causes behavior. Everywhere, every time, your needs are not met. So after that, you have some motivation to do something for meeting your need deficiencies. And the hierarchy of needs, the best and most famous hierarchy and need theory all around the world, especially in the psychology and management. Assume that human needs are arranged in a hierarchy of importance. I talked to you, 5 levels: basic needs, security needs, love and belonging, self-esteem and self-actualization, basic or deficiency needs, psychophysiological, security, belonging, and growth needs. Maslow said that in the hierarchy of needs, 3 basic needs, 3 first needs, are deficiency needs. What does it mean? You will meet these needs because of your deficiencies, because you want to be alive. And after that, you want to grow. So growth needs are self-esteem and self-actualization. You can see the hierarchy of Maslow adapted from the theory of human motivation. It's an article, and you base salary and sustenance and pension plan, friendship, job title, achievement, and other things. Also, You should consider that we are offering the Maslow hierarchy of needs in an organizational model for behaviors, not about the personal behaviors, not interpersonal, in an organization. ERG theory that describe existence, relatedness, and growth for the as a need-based perspective on motivation. Assumption is more than one need may motivate a person at the same time. More than one need. 2, satisfaction progression and frustration regression components imply that a person may not stay at the same level of needs in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It is bipolar, satisfaction progression or frustration regression. If you want to meet one of your needs, okay, you are doing something, some abilities, some strength, some doing, some actions to go forward to your needs, to achieve your needs, and you will be successful or maybe not successful. If you are successful, you are progressive, satisfied progression at one part. And then if you are not successful, after that you are frustrated, you will be depressed, and you will have some sense of anger, and after that, regression. So in ERG theory, existence, relatedness, and growth, we are talking about the bipolar two poles about the achievement and frustration. And Herzberg two-factor theory or dual structures theory assumed that motivation as a construct has two separate dimensions. First, motivation factors which affect satisfaction. 2, hygiene factors which determine dissatisfaction. Pay attention. About the satisfaction, we are talking affect satisfaction. About the dissatisfaction, we are talking about determine satisfaction. Assume motivation occurs through job arrangement once hygiene factors are addressed. Criticisms may be both method and culture bound. Fails to account for individual differences. No individual difference, very, very total and overall theory about the motivation, but in the real world, you know that people are so different. Yes, we are talking about the differences and similarities. Yes, there are a lot of similarities between people, I know. But basically, more than similarities, it is very important to know about the differences. Why? Because the difficulties are driven by your differences, not your similarities. Similarities doesn't produce any difficulties. Everybody is just at the same traders, it's the same feature and other things. But in differences, there are a lot of problems. Emir, I have your music voice here.
No, I'll tell you this thing.
Taylor, do you hear my voice?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And Christian, do you hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
And Taylor, what about you?
Yes.
Taylor, can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the two-factor theory of motivation is Herzberg view. It's satisfaction, not satisfaction, dissatisfaction, no dissatisfaction. It is about the motivational factors and hygiene factors. As you see, I want you to have a good skill about the analysis, this theory about the motivation, because it is relatively modern motivation, a comprehensive motivation about the comprehensive theory about the motivation. In motivation factors, in the factors that can help you to achieve your goals, we have achievement, recognition, the work itself, responsibility, and advancement and growth. It is about satisfaction or no satisfaction. But in hygiene factors, we have supervision, working conditions, interpersonal relationships, pay and job security, and company policies. Okay. McClelland provided a theory about the motivation. It is called acquired needs framework, the needs for achievement, and the needs for affiliation, and the need for power. And these parts are 3 parts of McClelland about the theory about the motivation. The need for achievement, the need for affiliation, the need for power. Everybody needs to have some achievement for his or her goal. Everybody needs to have some affiliation with other people, and everybody needs to have power over his or her responsibility, over his or her conditions, circumstances, and other things. So it is in this theory, acquired needs framework, we have 3 types of need. Need for achievement, need for affiliation, and need for power. Other types of theories about motivation are about process-based. The first type of theories about motivation was about need-based. I'm here, my need is here. I should have some motivation to enrich and to meet my need. Okay, what are the factors that can affect on my motivation? Why sometimes I am depressed? I know my needs, but I cannot have any good motivation to access my need, to meet my need. But the second type, the second part, and the second version of motivational theories are about process-based, not need-based. Focus on process-based perspectives are why people choose certain behavioral options to satisfy their needs. Is the first question. We are talking about the choice and chance. You have some chances, and choice some chances, and not choice some chances, other chances. So we have a good theory in psychology, so-called the choice theory, which is very, very deep and very effective theory about the analysis, the human behaviors, the choice theory. How people evaluate their satisfaction after they have attained these goals. I talked to you previous session about a movie with the title of Forrest Gump. And I said to you that one of the basic parts of happiness is enough point. If you don't have any enough point, okay, it's so hard to be happy. I talked to you that in Forrest Gump, you see that a person, Tom Hanks playing the role of Forrest Gump, and he has some mental problems and also autistic spectrum problems. And an interesting point is that he is very successful in some types of sports. And when his team won the game, it's over, the game is over. He should stand and stop and the game is over, but he cannot understand that the game is over. He play play, and running out of the stadium. And for the next game, there was a billboard at the end of the stadium which had written on it, "Stop Forest, stop Forest, Forest, stop it. The game is over. It is not necessary to try again, again, and again." It's a movie, I know. And it's sometimes very funny for us that what is the relationship with this example to our real life? The relationship is that sometimes you don't know that stop. It's a stop point, it's enough point. You have been successful. It is not necessary to do anything else. So how people evaluate their satisfaction? When you are successful, when you have met your goals, what you are doing again, other things and other trials and other efforts, it means that you are not satisfied. Gaining the goals and reaching the goal, reaching the dreams and meeting the needs is not a good scale for satisfaction, for ending the game. Your satisfaction, your inner satisfaction about yourself, life circumstances, future, security, money, marriage, parental situation, and other external and internal circumstances, the total score of them shows that you are satisfied or you are not satisfied. So satisfaction is the good scale for continuing the game or not. The equity theory of motivation focuses on the desire to be treated with equity and to avoid perceived inequity. What does it mean? It means that in the daily life, everything is related to your perception, not to your reality. For example, these days we have a problem all around the world, so-called COVID-19 or coronavirus. Okay. It's a virus. It's a biologic problem. It's a disease creator, yes. But you see a lot of disorganized behavior all around the world, even in the United States, that a lot of people are getting crazy. They don't have any rational behavior. They are harming self and others. Okay, why? Because the perceived future, not the future, perceived future, or perceived success, or perceived illness, or perceived death, perceived, not the real. How do you perceive? What is your perception about the future? It is important as an indicator for the behavior, for your behavior to the future. How do you perceive? What is the meaning of future for you? Is it a catastrophe? For example, after 1 month or 2 months, every store is all closed. You cannot find any food and other things. If your perception about the future is like this, yes, you will attack the store. But if you think, okay, it's a problem, and a lot of people are engaged with this problem, a lot of governments, good governments, modern governments are engaged with this problem. Absolutely, they will find a scientific and rapid solution for this problem. Not only because of US, not only because of Europe, because of human race. If this is your perception of future, that yes, this is a problem that will be solved. Maybe I will be at a hard position or not. This perception is not producing, for example, attack to a store. Why attack? I will have for 1 week or 2 week food at home, and after that I will go again. If you want to know better about it, you can read some text in social psychology. Social psychology, a branch of psychology that studies the scientific studying of social behavior and social mindset and how interact between behaviors and society. Our society shape our behaviors, or no? Groups and individuals shape the society, the mindset of society, the total and general concept of society. Equity is the perceptual belief that one is being treated fairly in relation to others. Inequity is perceptual belief. You see again the word perceptual, perceived. Perceptual belief also. Every belief is a perception. Every belief. When you say belief, it is mean that your deep, permanent, fixed, and recurrent perception. This is called belief. So, inequity is a perceptual belief that one is being treated unfairly in relation to others. What's your reaction, for example, someone fairly to you? So nice. Unfairly, at least you will be angry. At least you will be angry. At least. Sometimes aggressive. Sometimes passive aggressive. Sometimes, for example, you want only to talk about the problems if it is unfair. The equity comparison, it is a quality using outcome in inputs and outcome in inputs. Other and self and other and other. In management, you know that the scientific definition of efficiency is output to input, which is always less than one. Which is always less than one. Why? Because never output is equal to input. Always output is less than input. So output to input, as in the scientific definition of efficiency, is always less than one. It's what's the perception of equity and inequity. For example, in equity, it is change inputs, change outcomes, alter perceptions of self, alter perception of other, change comparisons, live situations, and other things. Some part of this process will come to the therapy room. Why? Because sometimes you need coaching, you need mentorship, you need therapy, you need counseling. For example, alter perception of selves. It's not so easy to change or alter self-perception, self-concept, self-image. It is not at all easy. It needs coaching, it needs therapy, counseling, mentorship. And process perspective, the expectancy theory of motivation. Motivation depends on how much we want something and how likely we think we are to get it. It's about the passion? No. When you talk about the expectancy, because it is very important in different part of your thinking, it is called positive, powerful expectations. Positive, powerful expectations. Expectations talk about the how much you want and how you think that, how likely you think that you will get it. So about your desire, how much you want, and about the probability, about the how likely you think that you will get it. And key components in this theory, it is effort to performance expectancy, performance to outcome expectancy, outcome and variance. The perceived, again perceived, the perceived probability that effort will lead to performance. There's something different between effort and performance. Some part of effort you cannot see. It is inner. For example, thinking, we say that thinking is an intellectual effort, or passion is an emotional effort, but you cannot see anybody thinking or anybody passion. That part of that stage of thinking or passion, you can see it is not called effort, it is called performance. behavior, you can see. Sometimes effort is the same behavior, because behavior, for example, we say about the mental behaviors or mental acts. What is mental act? Oh, your perception, your interpretation, your beliefs, your culture-based belief, all are mental acts. But you cannot see my beliefs about the culture, about my family, about my country, about your country and other parts. But you can see my behavior. So that part of actionable, that part observable, and sometimes measurable, not always, sometimes measurable, it is called performance. So we have effort, we have performance, and we have outcomes. Different, so different. Not always your performance will result in your outcomes, your desired outcomes. Every action, every performance has an outcome, I know. Sometimes it is desirable, sometimes it is not desirable. Yes, but it has outcomes. If it is desirable outcomes, yes, it is called success. If it is not desirable outcome, it is undesirable outcome, yes, it is called failure. But every effort has a performance. Every performance will have an outcome, desirable or undesirable. Outcome and values, the degree of attractiveness or unattractiveness, value that a particular outcome. How much the perceived probability that effort will lead to performance, the perceived probability that performance will lead to certain outcomes. Anything that results from performing a behavior is called outcome. Anything, any result. What is the other word for outcome? It is result. Anything that results from performing a behavior and the degree of attractiveness or unattractiveness. It is how much it is valuable for me. The expectancy theory of motivation, one of my favorite theories about motivation, is the expectancy theory. I think the nature of motivation is expectation, the nature. Because when you don't have any expectation to do something or to receive something or to result something or to achieve something, you don't have any motivation. So it is your expectation, your expectancy about the future acts, about the future. And in some part of quantum psychology, we are talking about the total natural law, about this attitude to the world and to the life. And process-based behavior, it is the Porter-Lawler model, focuses on the relationship between satisfaction and performance. Assume that if rewards are adequate, high levels of performance may lead to satisfaction. Satisfaction determined by the perceived equity of intrinsic and extrinsic rewards for performance. And the Porter-Lawler model, it is very, very complicated. So good, so detailed model, but very complicated. Sometimes it is very good for organizations also. And guideline we're using expectancy theory. That's very good. Determine the primary outcomes each employee wants. Decide what level of performance are needed to meet organization goals. So at first we are talking about the employees' needs. And after that, we are talking about the level of performance in the organization. Make sure the desired level of performance are possible. Possibility and probability. Link desired outcome and desired performance. I'm doing something for myself, and my boss, my manager, is doing something for himself or herself. So are they linked together? No. Are they connected together? Again, no. So what's the problem? No problem. But everybody doing is on his or her own self. It's an organization. It is not the private relationship. It is not the individual performance. It's an organization. Analyze the situation for conflicting expectancies, and make sure the rewards are large enough. Make sure the overall system is equitable for everyone. Okay. Learning-based perspective, the third approach to motivation. First, need-based. Second, it is process-based. And the third base is learning-based theory perspectives of motivation. You have motivation because of your needs. You have motivation because of your perceptions and processes. And you have some motivation because of learning. A relatively permanent change in behavior or behavioral potential resulting from direct or indirect experiences or rehearsal. So we have some critical points, some basic points, and very important, crucial points in definition of learning, scientific definition of learning in learning psychology, as you see here. First, when learning has happened, when there is a change, no learning. You can practice a lot of things. Okay, have you learned them? I don't know. Secondly, it should be a relatively permanent change, not an one-time or two-time change, relatively permanent change. And can I see the change? Yes, it is behavioral change and experience. So change, relatively permanent, and experience or rehearsal. For example, if you do something, you learn something, and after that, with no consistency, no permanency, you will not change anything. Only learning and forgetting. Is it learning? No. Is it not learning? It's education, it's training. Learning is something more than training. When training results to change, that's good. It's learning. How learning occurs? Traditional view is classical conditioning. In the behavioral assumption, behavioral models are shaping the behavior. The basic is classical conditioning, but Pavlov and Skinner and other things. And learning as a cognitive process, teaching. Reinforcement theory and learning, operant conditioning for Skinner, and types of reinforcement. We have 4 types of reinforcement. That reinforcement is something that increases the probability of recurrency of an action. Everything do it, it is reinforcement. And type of reinforcement, it is not important. Learning-based perspective. Social learning in organization. One of the greatest theories about the learning is social learning. Only social learning. Okay? Occurs when people observe the behaviors of others, recognize their consequences, and alter their own behavior as a result. Sometimes it is called observational learning. Social learning, sometimes it is called observational learning. It is very, very modern theory about how our behaviors are shaped in society, and learning is shaped, and learning occurs in society, in our family, to the elite people, and to our friends, to peer group and other people. Social learning is very important and very, very realistic. Very realistic. Why? When you are talking about the classical conditioning or operant conditioning and other types of learning, you are talking about some theories, some assumptions about the learning. When you are talking about the social learning or observational learning, you are talking something that which is observable, Very, very observable. Conditions for social learning behavior being observed and instead intimated must be relatively simple. Imitation is very important. Imitation is one part of social learning. Why? Because you want to practice some behavior that ends to learning. Okay, what is your role model? The basic word is here, role model, someone or something that you want to model your social roles from him or her. He or she is your role model, okay? So imitation is the first part. Observed and imitated behavior must be concrete, not intellectual. It is observable. It is objective, not subjective. And learner must have the physical ability to imitate the observed behavior. Also, it is used in animal psychology. For interpretation of some animal behaviors, we use imitation, especially in the mammals near the Homo sapiens, for example, monkeys, baboons, or gorillas, all have imitation. Organizational, behavioral modification, OB mode. At first, what is the difference between modification and change? In modification, you don't change the basic parts and you don't shape the new elements. The same parts with the same shapes, but you altered new ways of connection, interconnection between the elements, between the elements that construct the, for example, organization. It is modification. What it change? You add or delete and alter some element, basic elements. It's a change. It is not modification. So in behavior, we have two parts: behavior therapy and behavior modification or behavioral change. That is very professional in our proficiency as psychologists. The application of reinforcement to people in organizational setting. In circus, you see a lot of usage of behavioral shaping or behavioral modification or changes for the animals, how to shape some behaviors in animals. So we can use the classical opponent and also social learning theories in organization, especially social learning organization is about organizations, because organization at the basic part is a society. Family is a society, a small society and basic society. Community is a society, ethnicity is a society, your race or geography is a society, but in different parts, we have some specific word, for example. For example, when you want to talk about the Persian people, you don't say Persian society, you say Persian community. Community is a part of society which has a basic and specific feature. It is, for example, Persian people or other minorities. Okay? Nature of reinforcement, continuous, fixed interval, variable interval. We talked about it before. After reading this chapter, this is our expectancy from you. I need about 5 minutes of break. After 5 minutes, we will be here again for continue our session. Okay, after studying the foundations of motivation from a psychological perspective, the previous hour, and now we want to study the motivation in the workplace, in the organization, in the business place, and how we help people shape their behavior, appropriate behavior in organizational settings and other places relative to their needs. Motivation and employee performance. Uh, I want to talk to you about the something extra of your course. We have some types of coaching: high performance coaching and performance coaching, which is related to the sport and to the organization. Is it not new? About 20 or 30 years ago, uh, its origins from sport coaches. And after that, come to the community, to the some parts that money and business were so important. And we use, as the coaches, as the psychologists, as the sport coaches, even they use the same principles of the sport environment to the organizational environment, to the workplace, to the work environment, atmosphere. So performance is a very, very important and key word in an organization. Even an organization employees don't have any good performance in their situation of responsibility, the total and overall productivity of organization will increase, will diminish, and the organization go to the end of his work time. So using theory of motivation, we studied three types of theories about motivation. One was about the needs, two about the process, three about the learning. It is need-based theories, process based theories, and learning-based theories. No single theory, no single theory explains how motivational theories can use in an organization. Different situation, different motivation, different combination of motivations, combined but mixed theories. Not only this one or that one or the third one. Each theory covers only some factors that motivated behavior. More than one theory or method can be used to enhance performance in an organization. Each theory or method must translate it into operational terms. When we are talking about the operational terms, uh, I hope you go to the upper grade of your education for MBA or DBA when you want to write a thesis or a dissertation and you want to conduct a research, for example, in DBA, you should have two types of definitions. One, conceptual definitions. Two, operational definitions. Operational definitions is the type of definitions that define the concepts in the conceptual definition as an operation, as something observable and measurable. For example, when you are talking about what is intelligence, if one of your conceptual keywords is intelligence in your research, for example, you should provide a conceptual definition of, for example, intelligence. Okay, intelligence is something to perceive the deep parts of life and other things. But it is not observable and measurable. You should provide a test, an inquiry, an exam to examine the intelligence. It is operational definition. What is intelligence? Intelligence in this operational definition is the item that this test, this questionnaire, this exam will examine. So you should convert your motivational theory to the operational terms. Enhancing performance in organization, need-based perspectives, potential for motivated behavior, and process-based. Okay. Between need-based and process-based, There's an interaction that you see in the chart. And potential for motivated behavior, directed and enhanced performance. And 6 parts: job design, employee participation, flexible work arrangement, goal setting, performance management, and organizational rewards. At the end, it is enhanced performance. Oh, what is job design? What are you talking when you're talking about job design or work design? How organization define and structure jobs. Job specification, Brady Taylor, the father of modern management. Jobs should be scientifically studied, broken down into small component tasks, and then standardized across all workers doing those jobs. Job study, job diminish, job reduction, and work division. Follow Adam Smith's concept of division of labor. Job design for efficiency can become boring and monotonous, resulting in job dissatisfaction, and early alternatives to job specialization, job rotation, job enlargement, and job enrichment. It's very important. We have some concept here as job loading. It is vertical and horizontal. Horizontal and vertical job loading. It is about the quality and quantity. At first, it is job rotation, systematically moving workers from one job to another in an attempt to minimize monotony and boredom. If you are doing the same thing every day, every week, every year, are you expert? No. You were expert. You are now a specialistic machine. No feedback, no change. And in the real world of human beings, we can see such a boredom can damage every creativity. So, job rotation from one position to another position systematically, not by chance, systematically, in a category and in planning. You should rotate with this worker, with another worker. Yes. Why? Because it's so boring for everybody to do the same thing all the time. And after that, you go to the concept of job loading. It is very good concept, very lovely concept. It is job loading, horizontal and vertical. What is horizontal and vertical? Horizontal job loading is called job enlargement. It is about the quantity, not quality. It is about the quantity, not quality. But job enrichment, it is about the quality. It is vertical job loading. So horizontal job loading, it is about the facilities, about the tools, about the personnel, about the employees and other things. And vertical. Vertical is about the job enrichment. Giving worker more tasks to perform. More tasks. It is quantity. It is job enlargement. And giving workers more tasks to perform and more control over how to perform them. It is from the vertical. Job enrichment. Work design in organization, the job characteristic theory. Is there any characteristic for job? Is your character? Everything has some features, some traits, some characteristics. Critical psychological states of workers. Superior meaningfulness of the work. Experience responsibility for work outcome. Knowledge of results. So one part is psychological states of workers. How the workers, how employees think about their job. It is critical psychological states of workers. What is the meaning of job for you? And what is your responsibility? How do you think that how much you are responsible? How important is responsibility in your job? Are you accountable and responsible or not? And what do you know about the results of your job? It is psychological mindset, psychological states of the workers about their jobs. And motivational properties of task. Okay, it is not related to the worker, it is related to the task. Is it motivational? And skill variety, is it the same? No, it has a lot of skills. It is a confused problem or no, so clear problem. It is a simple problem or it's a complicated problem. And task identity and task significance is very important. Significance and meaningfulness and the meaning of job for everybody is an inner part. I don't want to use the word inner. I want to use the word mental, the word psychological. It's a psychological part, and sometimes emotional part of your job. What is the meaning of your job for you? There is a good concept about work that if you are doing something that you love, you never work. You never have it, you will never have a job. It's a difference between career and job. That careers always has some emotional belonging, some interest for you. What job is job? So task significance for the worker is very important part. And autonomy, how autonomous you are about your job. And feedback. The sign, the major sign, the cardinal sign of job is feedback. And the job criteria theory, core job dimension, critical psychological state, and personal work outcomes. Okay. What research finding says about the job characteristic theory? Performance seldom found to correlate with job characteristic. There is no correlation. What is the difference between correlation and cause and effect? Cause and effect, it is the relationship of causality. Something happens because of the first happening, the second result, the second outcome, the second effect will be shown in the future and after that. It is, we are talking about the outcomes. It is a causality relationship. But in correlation, it is only synchronization. Synchronize, and at the same time, two things will happen or has happened before several times. Not one time, not two times. We have a pattern. We have a model of repeating and repeating and repeating. It is correlation. So in correlation, regularly we don't have any cause and effect relationship. This is causality. But in correlation, we have something to at least two phenomena, two events that has happened together several times at the same time or in a basic order, but there is no causality. For example, there is no causality between winter and getting cold. No causality. The cause of getting cold as an effect is not winter. It is the bacteria. It is the viruses. There's no causality. But always when it is winter, viruses and bacteria can, for example, have good effect on getting cold, on illness. So winter is not the cause. Winter is the context factor, not the main factor, not the key factor. It is the context factor. So every time it is winter, we can see a lot of people have flu, for example. It is not causality. relationship, cause and effect. It is correlation. Repeat, 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 repeat. Yes, it is a pattern. So there is no cause and effect relationship. It is correlation. The same time, every time it is winter, the rate of getting flu increases. But the factor, the main factor, the key factor of flu is not winter, it is virus, okay? It's a difference between correlation and cause and effect. Measures used to test theory are not always valid and reliable. Yeah, measurement tools are very important part of a research. So general population only study the final and the simplest form of finding. They are not familiar with the research process. So if the researcher has done his or her research so good, so methodological well are good, okay. Popular and general populations only study their findings. So the measurement tools are very important in doing the research. In every type of research, in business, social, organizational, psychological, medical, and other social research. So, rule of individual differences is not supported. When you are talking about the job characteristic theory, the major part which is denied, which is not supported, is individual differences. It is based upon the individual similarities, not individual differences. And theory is lacking in a specific guideline for implementation. So finally, what should we do? Thanks. Thanks for analysis about the job characteristic, about the analysis about the organization, business, and other things. So finally, at the end, tell me something to do. Action plan and implementation plan. No. Job characteristic lacking specific guidelines. General guidelines, yes. But general guidelines are not so. Action plan, when you are talking about implementation or action plan, you are talking about the specific actions, not general action, not general guidelines. Employee involvement and motivation. Extending job design to include participation is very important. It is the major part of any job design. And empowerment. We will talk about empowerment. So a lot of matters, a lot of studying matters in the course of leadership. 36, 65, I think. We will talk about empowerment. Enabling workers to set their own work goals, make decisions, and solve problems within their sphere of responsibility and authority. It is empowerment and giving power, giving the sense of power to the employees. And areas of employee involvement are personal job-related decisions, administrative matters, for example, work schedules, product quality decisions, techniques and issues, employee involvement, empowerment through work teams, quality circles, QCs, or quality circles in every modern organization with any type of production. It may be, for example, medical organization, hospital, educational organization, university, or technological organization, for example, car companies. QCs, or quality circles, are the basic part of all types of quality management or quality controls. Don't forget, sometimes quality QCs is for quality control or quality circles, but always it is generally used for quality circles. Decentralization of decision making and increased delegation. Why not? Why not? If you cannot have delegation in your organization, you are not a manager. And you are not a leader also. You are a boss only. It's an organization. Boss is for a company, not an organization. Organization is the organizing elements to achieve a shared goal. Not do everything by yourself. You are a boss. You are not a manager. You are not a leader. Requirements for effective empowerment. An organization must be sincere in its effort to spread power and autonomy to lower levels of the organization. Lower level. Assume that in an organization, the lower level employees have some types of autonomy, some type of delegation, and committed to maintaining participation and empowerment. Yes, I as a manager can give you the power, can empower you, but you should have responsibility about your outcomes, organizational outcomes. So participation, empowerment, and responsibility. Participation and empowerment are called autonomy, authority, everything you want to say about it. You can do at your opinion, at your view in the organization, but you should answer about your about your outcomes. So participation, empowerment, and responsibility. Systematic and patient in its effort to empower workers. Okay, systematic and patient. Change doesn't happen in one night. Change doesn't happen in one night. Okay, it has a timetable to happening the change, to shaping the change, to shaping empowerment and other things, participations, responsibility, and other things, other important factors in an organizations. I'm prepared to increase its commitment to training, yes, and flexible work arrangements. Variable work schedule says compressed work schedules, employee work a 40-hour week in fewer than 5 days, extended work schedule, employee work relatively long periods of work followed by relatively long periods of paid time off. Flexible work schedule, it is flex time. Employees again more control over hours worked daily, and job sharing to a more part-time employees share full-time job. And telecommuting, it is employees spend all or part of their time working off-site, at home, out of the company, off-site. Okay. And what is this last part to the commuting benefits to organization? Because nowadays, for example, these days, because of coronavirus, it is very regular to work as our class is not online, but now it is doing offsite. But ordinary organization, what are the benefits of this type of job? Reduce absenteeism and turnover. Good. Turnover is one of the basic problems in organizations. When you have a lot of turnover in organization, absolutely you should hire a business coach. Absolutely. No doubt. Reduction in indirect expenses for facilities, yes. No renting, no location, real location, everything is virtual. No, your workers are not virtual. Your place and facilities are virtual and also by themselves, not by you as a manager. The downside considerations, employees miss their workplace social interaction. Yeah, it is isolated. And employees lack self-control or discipline. And difficulties arise in coordinating in-face meetings. We don't have any in-face meeting. Purpose of setting goals in an organization to provide a useful framework for managing motivation to enhance employee performance. So, the first part the basic part, the basic skill for every type of success is goal setting. The first part is goal setting. If you cannot set your goals, where do you want to go? Where do you want to, or what do you want to achieve? So goal setting is the basic and elementary part of each type of success, okay? And after goal setting, you know that where do you want to go? It is your GPS in a car. And after that, you should have some fuel in your car. It is your motivation. And after that, you should drive directly and appropriately based upon the GPS shows you the map. It is performing. So goal setting, motivation, and performance. To self-management as a control device for monitoring how well the organization is performing. You should have some scales for evaluating the outcomes of your organization, of your employee, of yourself even. Goal setting shows you that what you want and give you some measurement tools, some measure to measure your achievement. How far are you from your goals? Desirable objective. Goal setting theory assume that behavior is a result of conscious goals and intention. Therefore, goals influence behavior. So this is the definition of performance. The goal-directed behaviors are performance. The goal-directed behaviors are performances. Goal characteristic, goal difficulty, to the extent to which a goal is challenging and requires effort. You should know about your goal difficulty. How difficult is your goal? How much effort does it need to achieve a goal? And goal specificity, the clarity and precision of a goal. It's a general goal, specific goal. Goal setting process, goal-directed effort is a function of goal attributes, goal features, goal traits, goal difficulty, goal specificity, and goal acceptance, the extent to which a person accepts a goal as his or her own. This is the turning point of organization. Why? Organization and organizational managers set some goals for the organization, financial goals, productivity goals, social goals, and other things. Each type of organization. And after that, you can look at the organization and see that some employees, some workers, some co-workers are not engaged with the organizational goals. Why? Even because of money, they are not engaged. Why? The basic part is belonging, is goal acceptance. They didn't recognize the organizational goals as their goals. They didn't have any sense of belonging to the organizational goals. And on the other side, you can see in a lot of successful large companies, for example, like Toyota, and here in America, like, for example, I think it is in Microsoft, research shows that there is a large sense of belonging, a high sense of belonging to the company. Employees think that, yes, for example, the Toyota success or the Microsoft success is my success. I belong to the company and company belongs to me. It is a very, very sharp skill to create some atmosphere in the worker's mind. And goal commitment, in the extent to which a person is personally interested in reaching a goal. Review again, the goal setting process. Goal-directed effort. What are the goal attributes? 1, goal difficulty. 2, goal specificity. 3, goal acceptance, and 4, goal commitment. Management by objective, or MBO, it is another goal setting theory, a collaborative goal setting process through which organizational goals cascade down throughout the organization. Cascade down throughout the organization. Management by objective requires customizing to each organization. It is not a general theory. It's tailor-made. You should customize to every organization. Steps of the general MBO model. Top manager establish overall goals for the firm. Managers and employees collaborate to set subsidiary goals, and managers ensure that the employees have the resources needed to reach the goals. And process flows downward as each subordinate manager repeats the step with her own subordinates. A manager periodically meets with subordinates to check process and make adjustment as needed. In theory, it is very simple. It is management by objective. Okay. You should decrease, you should diminish your general goals of organization to the lower parts of organization. It is, in theory, it is very simple. As you see, but you see that the operational steps are not so easy, are not so simple. It is complicated. Because why? Because you should reduce your general goals of the organization to one person for each worker. And assessment and evaluate. And feedback and feedback and feedback. Until when? Until the end of the job, until the meeting the goal. Goal difficulty and specificity are closely associated with performance. Research shows that, and logically it is very clear. Goal setting theory may focus too much on short-run considerations. Short-run consideration, not long-run consideration. MBO has the potential to motivate because it helps implement goal-setting theory on a systematic basis throughout the organization. So when you use MBO model, it is very good for producing motivation. It has a tendency to overemphasize quantitative goals to enhance verifiability. Okay. I propose you to learn this part, performance management in organizations. It is the nature of performance management. Performance appraisal process, evaluate an employee's work behaviors by measurement and comparison with previously established standards, and document the results. For example, in ISO, International Standard Organization Model for improvement of the management standards, documentation is very, very, very basic part, very basic. Everything should be documented, everything. If something is not documented, okay, it doesn't exist. I know it exists, but if you cannot change something, some facts, the documentation in International Standard Organization Model for improving the management, it doesn't work at least. It doesn't work. It is used, but doesn't work. So document the result is very important. And communicate the result to the employee. Okay, we're talking about the result, the organizational result, the individual result, the employee result, and purposes of performance appraisal. Performance appraisal process and purposes of performance appraisal are provide feedback, decide and justify reward allocations, and judgment and development. The final goal of every organization is development. Before development, we need judgment. Before judgment, we need feedback. Before feedback, we need assessment, data collection. The basic of performance management. Who is to do the appraisals? How often are the appraisals to be done? And how is performance to be measured? It's a very important part. How is performance to be measured? How can you know that the performance is efficient or not efficient? Works or doesn't work? The process is the appraisers, alternatives, the direct supervisors, multiple rater system, including self-evaluation. It's a very good system and a little complicated system for rating. Multiple rater systems are systems that gathering information in different levels of ratings. For example, supervisor, general manager, and also by the worker, by the employee. It is self-evaluation. It is multiple rater systems. 360 degree feedback. It is very regular today. 360 degree management, 360 degree feedback, and it is holistic approach to everything. Holistic. It is 360 degree. It means that a system which receive performance feedback from those on all sides of them in the organization, boss, colleagues, peers, and subordinates. And frequency of appraisal, it is the other part of the process determined by convenience for administrative purposes, cultural appropriateness, and relevance. And other part is performance management, measuring performance, considerations, desired decision to be made based on the outcome. Instrument must be valid, reliable, and free of bias. Pay attention. When you want to think about something, to assess something, to evaluate something, there are some general differences between assessment and evaluation. If you want to do it, at first you should know that you don't have any bias. Bias will navigate your direction to the very, very, very wrong places. So if there are any interruptions, and yes. Okay. Take a minute, I put it here. Yeah. Measuring performance, considerations, desired decision to be made, choices of measurement methods, graphic rating skills, checklists, it's very popular, essay or diaries, behaviorally anchored rating skills, forced choice system, and other things. You should have access to a lot of measuring methods, method. Why? Because in different situations for different organization, or even in one organization, different situations, you need some different measurements method. Also, it should be done by experts because having the measurement methods is not the problem. The problem is choosing the proper measurement method for the situation, for the problem. If you don't know anything about how appropriateness you need for measuring method, it should be a big deal for the organization. The balance scorecard, vision and strategy, customer goal measure, and finance and internal business processes and innovation and learning. An individual rewards in an organization reward system. And after that, we have some, in reward system, we have rules, procedure, and decision-making activities. To the contribution of the organization, it is the people, processes, rules, procedure, and decision-making activities. When you are talking about the reward system in an organization, to study the behavioral, individual behaviors in an organization, you should know that it is a system. Its components are shaped a system for how you can reward and individuals in an organization. Consists of all organizational components involved in allocating compensation and benefits to employees in exchange for their contribution to the organization. Reward purposes, roles, and meanings. Purposes of reward is to attract, retain, and motivate qualified employees. Roles of compensation structures are to be equitable and consistent, to be a fair reward for the individual's contribution, to be competitive in the external labor market, and meaning of the rewards. Meaning of the rewards in organization is something different. The purposes of reward is the same. The purposes of reward in a family, in a society, in an organization are the same. To attract, retain, and motivate qualified employees, to attract, retain, and motivate, for example, qualified behaviors of your son, of your wife, of your husband, in a family or a society, in your leadership and other things. The purposes of reward is always the same, but the meaning of reward is different. Surface value, objective meaning or worth of reward, and symbolic value, this subjective and personal meaning or worth of reward. So pay attention. The meaning of reward may be subjective, maybe objective, maybe in surface, maybe in symbolic. When it is symbolic, it is so deeper, much deeper for someone who has received the reward. So we propose everybody, well, when he or she wants to give his or her employees, his or her members and other people, symbolic rewards are so deeper and so permanent, has so a lot of permanent effects on the future behaviors and reinforced by the reward. Compensation package and base pay compensation package, you see a lot of compensation package in the governments, for example, for poor people, it is a compensation package, the total area of money and other things. And base pay symbolizes an employee's worth and can reduce turnover and increase morale when well designed. In base pay, there's a good reward results in base pay, but the design of base pay is very important. If you cannot give a good design for your base pay, you will pay basically on the base payment but it doesn't show your the involvement, the engagement of your person, of your employees and workers in the organization. So symbolizes an employee's worth, symbolizes, and can improve motivation and performance if part of an effective planned and managed pay system. Effective planned and managed pay system is a major cost of doing business and can reduce turnover and increase morale when well designed. Types of individual rewards, incentive pay system, and also we can talk about the piecework programs, gain sharing programs, bonus systems, long-term compensation, merit pay plan, and other things. When you are talking incentive pay system, plans in which employees can earn additional compensation in return for certain types of performance. Higher performance, higher payment. Higher performance, higher payment. Plans in which employees can earn additional compensation. Higher performance, more good performance, much better performance, more payment, more payment system, compensation in return to certain types of performance. And indirect compensation or employee benefits benefits for employee is payment for time not worked. The more time you work, the more payment. It's not so good. Social security contribution, insurance and social. Unemployment compensation, if we cannot work, okay, you will receive some compensation for your job. And disability and workers' compensation benefits, a life and health insurance program, and pensions or retirement plans, and other things. Prerequisite, other awards and managing reward system, linking performance and reward. It is very important that your rewards should have some linkage to your performance. Employee perception of link between pay and performance results in symbolic value of pay. When and where the payment system is valuable for your worker, when your worker, your employee can find some symbolic relationship between the reward he or she will receive and his or her performance. A flexible reward system allows employees to choose the combination of benefits that best suits their needs. They're searching for their needs, not your needs as the managers, not the company. They're searching for their needs. If there's a good coverage between their needs and organizational needs, it's good. For example, if the reward organization gives to their personnel, to their workers, to their employees, cover all their needs, and the performance of the workers cover organizational need, it's good. The relationship between performance and the prizes and the rewards they will give, compensation they will give, they will receive. So it's very important. Why we use the word symbolic? Because these relationships at the first part are organizing your mind. The reward is a symbol of your performance. Why do you perceive such a compensation? Why do you will you receive such a reward? Because your performance is evaluated as good, as functional, as efficient. Participative pay system. Okay, employees are involved in the design and or administration of their compensation system. It is very flexible, very flexible. Okay, participative. More participation, more reward, more compensation. You can see the total of them here. And managing reward system. Pay secrecy. Employees make no information available to employees regarding other employees' salaries, percentage raises, salary ranges, and requires employees to not reveal their compensation. It is pay secrecy and Expatriate compensation, it is mean compensation packages of employee on overseas assignments must be adjusted to account for differences in cost of living and working condition. It is for the specific companies. Okay, after that, we can go to the last chapter and last part of our talking and our class today, our session today, and take a minute. Screen sharing has to stop. Okay. We have the final subject for today. It is about groups and teams. When you want to talk about the groups and teams, you are talking about a lot of people gathering together for gaining some shared goals, some shared meanings, producing some shared meanings, or achieving some shared goals. There is a cutoff point. There is a turning point here. Is that there's a word, so-called system, as we talked about before. What is system? A lot of components gathering together and working interactionally to achieve a shared goal. Okay. It is a complex of components, not what components, and shared goal, and interact together, not individually. So in the organization, we have this type of thinking, we have this type of shaping behaviors in different parts. One, for example, departments. Two, groups. Three, teams. And more important than everything, it is organization or company. So now we want to talk about, we have talked about the individual effects of workers on the organization. In the next minutes, we want to talk about the teams and groups in organization. Define groups and teams and identify and describe several types of each. Identify core groups performance factors. Discuss the stage of group and team development and identify the primary benefits and cost of team. Okay, group define two or more people, not one people, who interact with one another such that each person influences and is influenced by each other person. More than one, interaction, mutual influence. It is team. An interdependent group of at least two people who share a common goal and accountability for outcome. So every team is a group, but every group is not a team. Every team is a group. The group what has more than one person, interaction, and mutual influence. But in group, there is no shared goal. There is no shared meaning. And there is no also accountability and responsibility for the outcomes. In a group, after shaping a group, after organizing a group, after forming a group, four, interaction and mutual influence. These interactions and these mutual influences are related to the shared goal, a shared meaning, and with the accountability of the responsibility, after that, the group will be a team. So every team is a group, but every group is not a team. And categorization of group by degree of formalization and the nature of groups and teams is not so important. Time of work group and we have three types of team: functional teams, cross-functional team, and problem-solving team. It is related to the shared goal that we were talking about it some minutes ago, about the nature, about the essence of a team. Team has a shared goal, team has a shared meaning, and then the responsibility for gaining, for the outcomes, for the achievement. Functional team members come from the same department or functional area. Cross-functional team members come from different departments, from this department, that department. A lot of people gathering together and shape a team for gaining a goal, and can increase creativity, can solve problems more quickly. But problem solving establishes solve a problem and improve work. So between functional and cross-functional, the difference is about the departments. From the same department, from different departments. From this type of functional and problem solving, what is the difference? The goal in their problem solving is focused in work improvement, in problem solving, solving a problem. So the difference is about the type of the function the team provides to the organization. It is functional team, cross-functional team, and problem-solving team. Self-directed team sets and pursues own goals. Team members responsible for managerial tasks such as scheduling and evaluation can improve commitment, quality, and efficiency. And venture team. Venture team operates semi-autonomously to create and develop new products, processes, and businesses. And separating team from the firm's formal structure can enhance innovation and speed up cycle times. And virtual team members are geographical dispersed, for example, from different part of the world, different geographical part of the world. We organize and we shape and we form a team. And global team has members from different countries, can be virtual or meet face-to-face. Okay. And other things, friendship group and interest group. What is the difference between friendship group and interest group? Friendship group at first is relatively permanent, but the interest group is relatively temporary. Friendship group draws benefits from the social relationship among its members, or interest group organized around a common activity or interest. It is the center point, the center meaning of a group in interest group is the subject of interest. Practice group performance, size, norms, informal leadership. It's very important, cohesiveness and composition. Group performance factors. Group composition. It's very good that homogeneity and heterogeneity is also in human behaviors as an individual and a group. We have these words. The degree of similarity or difference among group members and factors important to group works. What? The degree to which members are similar in one or several ways that are critical to the group's work. The degree to which members differ in one or more ways that are critical to group's work. As hetero, it is homo. For example, when you say heterosexuality is sexual from different sexes. But when you say homosexuality, it is the same sex. So homo and hetero are the prefixes for differences and similarities, or different and similar. Group composition are the group performance factors. All the discussion about the groups are categorized in the title of group dynamics. Group dynamics is the phrase which is used to describe the group functions and the causes of the group functions and the roots of the group functions, and why individual people sometimes have different behaviors from the same regular method of behavior in their privacy or in their individual atmosphere related to the group. In the group, they have some different types of behavior. It is group dynamism or group dynamics. And in psychotherapy, we have a technique, a very, very popular and somehow effective technique. It is called group therapy. Group therapy is the usage of group dynamics, of group dynamism, to help every member, each member of the group, something more than individual psychotherapy. Individual psychotherapy, psychotherapists and clients talk together, techniques and analysis and other things. But the power of group and the influence of group can help a psychotherapist as a group leader to switch the components of the group for usage in effective psychotherapy. Group size, the number of members in the group, and can increase the degree of social loafing. A factor that determine ideal group size. It has some, not mathematical, but it is very related to the function of the group. I say use group tasks and group norms. The standards against which the appropriateness of the behaviors of members are judged determine behavior expected in a certain situation. It is group. For example, when you have a work group, you should know what is allowed or not allowed when you are in opposition, for example, with the group leader. When you want to say some negative points to your leader. What is the normal disposition in a group? Or when you are tired in a group, what is the norm? What is the regular laws? For example, when you are tired in a group, can you leave the group just at this time? Or no, after ending a discussion, you can leave? Or no, you can, for example, stand up and some physical practices in the location of group. These are the group norms. And these group norms should be determined at the first session or sometimes before the first session for all the group members. Is it necessary to be okay, everybody be okay with the group norms? No. For everybody it is not okay. Why? Because the group leader, based upon the group function and group goals, set the norms for the group. It is not related to be okay, everybody to be okay with the group norms. It is the managerial procedure for leading the group to gain, to access, to achieve the group goals. Purposes of norm help the group survive, simplicity and increase productivity of expected behavior, and blah, blah, blah. Group performance factors. Okay. Factors that affect group cohesiveness and consequences of group cohesiveness. Factors that increase, consequences of high, factors that decrease, and consequences of low. The factors that increase and decrease cohesiveness and the consequences of high and low cohesiveness indicate that although it is often preferable to have a highly cohesive group, in some cases, the effects of a highly cohesive group can be negative for the organization. Sometimes we need sometimes, not always. Sometimes we need a low cohesive group. Why? Because of the goals of the group for serving the organization, not for serving the group. We have a low. Consequences, factors that decrease cohesiveness, heterogeneous composition and recent formation, large size, physical dispersion, and ambiguous goals and failure. And difficulty in achieving goals, it for consequences, increased likelihood of disbanding and other things. goals and projects, you can see it in the chart. And informal leaders. It's very, very important to know about the informal leaders. Why? Because sometimes in an organization, in a society, in a party, sometimes in a political party, you see that they have some formal leaders. Everybody knows that he or she is the leader of party, leader of group, leader of team. But the orders, but the decisions of the formal leader is not so important for the members. What's happening here? And you see that other people, some specific people, lead the group in the hidden parts, the hidden layers. They are called informal leaders or hidden leaders. Engage in leadership activity without the formally recognized right, often draw from referent or expert power, and can be a tremendous asset when working in the firm's best interest. Can cause major disruption otherwise. Major disruption. Stages of group development. 4 stages for group development are mutual acceptance. We talk about it. Communicating and decision making, motivation and productivity, and control and organization. We can see the chart of group, team performance factors, and process gain, process loss, and team efficacy. Oh, we have talked about it before. Well, what is the difference between loss, profit, and benefit? If the loss is more than profit, okay, it is benefit. Loss is more than loss, profit and benefit, yeah. You can see here, team efficacy. When you are talking about efficacy or efficiency, it is the ratio between output and input, and loss or profit, okay? A team's shared belief that it can organize and execute the behaviors necessary to reach its goals. It is team efficacy. Shared belief, not only the team leader belief, not only the team organizer, not every individual believes. Shared beliefs, a team's shared belief that it can organize and execute the behaviors necessary to reach its goal, to achieve their goals. Trust, social facilitation, and roles and other factors. One of the practical problems in the teams are the roles. Why? Especially in the country or in the culture that they don't have any good teamwork culture. For example, you can have a prediction of the teamwork culture in every country when you look at the preferable national sports. The preferable national sport, the powerful national sport of a country is a team sport. That's good. Individual sport, it is not bad, but it shows that the country doesn't have enough culture, enough enriched culture about the teamwork. Why? When they want to invest on their sports, they prefer to invest on individual sports. It's a scale for have a prediction of teamwork culture in a country. So the roles here are very important. Define the behavior and task each team member is expected to perform because of the position he or she holds. Each person, each team member, because of the position. So it is individual, every team member individual roles. It is expectation. Sometimes it is done, sometimes it is not done, and because of position. The role of you as a team member is related to your position in your team. If it is not to your position, it is not related to your position, it is not your proper role. It is not proper. It's not good for you. So it is individual. Roles are individual in a group. Second, roles are expectations. And third, it is position-based. Shared team goals and feedback and team rewards and other things. Phase 1, startup. Phase 2, reality and unrest. Phase 3, leader-centered team. Phase 4, tightly for teams. And phase 5, self-managing teams. These are the phases of team implementation. Changing a team-based situation, startup, reality and unrest, leader-centered teams, tightly formed teams, keep communication channels with other teams open. It is very important, very important. Keep communication channels with other teams open. It's not a restricted team, it's an open team, communication channel. If you don't have any communication with the other teams, okay, you as a team are living isolated. No communication channel, no data transformation, no transformation. Why? Because no transition, no transportation. No data transition, finally you will not have any transformation in your team. Self-managing teams and other teams. So we have 5 phases: team-based environment benefits and produce cost. Difficulties in changing to a team-based organization. Cost of teams in the managerial role confusion, managerial sense of loss of usefulness. It's very, 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 very great harm to an organization. Managerial sense of loss of usefulness. Employee resistant to role changes. It's very common in the organization. Well, not so difficult. Lengthy team development process and losses due to premature abandonment of the process. Premature. Sometimes it is premature, sometimes it is post-mature. It is on time, mature. Okay, and necessity for team-based organization success. Top management support, understanding timeframes, and changing organizational rewards, which is very important for effective performance. If you cannot promote your effective performance, you will be at the same point for all the course of your organizational, for example, management. So everybody, it is the end of this session, and I wish the coronavirus will be resolved after 1 or 2 weeks. I wish also, but I'm not so hopeful, honestly. And I will see you for the next session at this time. Our class will be at 10:30 until 13, until 1 p.m. And please have a good learning engagement, because you are always at home, you have a good free time, and study hard and hard and hard. Nice to talk to you and nice to see you, and I wish see more of you in the online session. Bye-bye.